Hey guys, it's Marni from the Ask Women podcast. Buying a car is a not so fun experience for most people, and it doesn't have to be. At TrueCar.com, they'll help you get rid of the fear that you may overpay. You know you'll get a fair price because they show you what others paid for the car you're looking for. TrueCar.com analyzes what people are paying for their cars in their market and shares it with consumers so that they never have to overpay. Over 40,000 cars were sold by TrueCar certified dealers just last month. Users see an average savings of $3,046 off MSRP. TrueCar certified dealers go through a certification process, and you work directly with a TrueCar representative that will honor your savings. TrueCar certified dealers believe that truth and transparency are essentials to a better buying experience. First, go to TrueCar.com and find out what others pay for the same vehicle in your market and around the country. Second, register at TrueCar.com to see upfront pricing information and lock in your savings certificate. And the third step is simple. Just print out your certificate and take it to the TrueCar certified dealer for a better hassle-free buying experience. TrueCar has the most comprehensive new car pricing information available and a certified network of dealers that offers a hassle-free car buying experience and negotiation-free guaranteed savings. Support the Ask Women podcast and shop at TrueCar.com.
The following program is a PodcastOne.com production.
PodcastOne.com presents the Ask Women podcast. A place where two comics and a professional wing girl get together to dissect the female mind.
You don't know how I feel.
And explain it to men in terms they can actually understand. Boobs. Now, here's the lovely ladies of Ask Women.
Hey, you guys. Welcome to the Ask Women podcast, where you get real advice straight from the source.
Wait, have you ever seen Goonies? Because it sounded like that. Hey, you.
Yeah, it did. I tried to change it up, but nothing's natural.
No, it was good. It was a nice flow, yes.
Okay.
It was me screwing it up and ruining it for you. Continue.
Thank you for that.
Continue.
I am one of your hosts, Kristen Carney, comedian extraordinaire. Check out my comedy at youtube.com/seeyounext2scomedy. We also have Marni Kinrys, the best-selling author of Get Inside Her, and we have Sex with Emily here today, Emily Morse, the very knowledgeable, sexy lady.
Hello.
She's a doctor.
Doctor. That's why I said knowledgeable.
Yes.
Right.
I love
Knowledgeable doctor.
Yes.
Doctor of sex.
Yes, doctor of sex. That's the best kind.
I know, right?
And I don't want to forget Art, because every time I'm so sorry. Every time I forget, not that I don't love you, but I want to say hello. Thank you for being here. Everyone, Art's here. And then later in the show, we have Kline coming on, who is our Tinder, what would you call it? Correspondent?
I call her correspondent, actually, is a better word.
Yeah.
She said she has tons of stories, but so does Emily.
Aficionado. I like that.
Yes. I just started using Tinder myself.
I know. So I can't wait for all of us to talk about it and do it together.
I love it.
Yes.
We should do it together. Because
I know.
because I've been out of town, so I need to catch up with my Tinder messages.
Yes, I want to see.
I just landed and came right to Ask Women because I didn't want to miss it.
I do need to see a demonstration.
I'll show you a demo.
I've just heard
you guys can help me pick guys, because then some of my friends are like, "Hey, really? You're going to yes him? We'll get
right."
Into
It almost
just say
seems
yes to everybody and then see.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
Well, you guys.
You could, but that wouldn't be realistic.
Right. No. But, you guys, I don't want to cut off the Tinder talking, but I do want to talk about Amazon, because it's so important to help us stay on the air. This isn't free, unfortunately, for us. I mean, we don't pay for it, but you know what I'm saying.
They don't pay us for it either.
Right. So we need to keep it on the air. That's where you come in. Please bookmark winggirlmethod.com/Amazon and do all of your shopping through that page, and let us know when you do, because we will give you a shout out personally on the show.
Yes. Well, thank you for it.
Yeah. And follow us on Twitter.
Yes.
Okay,
what else? What else do you want them
That's
to do?
my list. That's it.
Okay, so then we're going to talk to Emily about sex, obviously.
Perfect.
Let's talk to you about grocery shopping. No, okay, we're not talking about sex.
Okay.
Because the thing that I want to talk about today is the clitoris.
I love it. It's my favorite
I
time.
know, and the reason I wanted to bring it up was because I wanted to make Kristen really uncomfortable and squirm the entire time. So this will be 20 minutes of her being uncomfortable and not being able to handle the conversation.
Got it.
But so the main things I want to tell guys today for the chapter in the man's playbook.
Are you horny to win?
That is hilarious.
The worst yet best thing I've ever heard in my life.
I like it. Keep it. It's good for now. So I want to talk about where the clitoris is.
Okay.
And what
Outer
to
space.
do with it.
Okay. That is a great question. That is such an important question, because as women, we are so gifted that we have this clitoris, right? The clitoris's only purpose on the planet is for pleasure.
Really?
It has 8,000 nerve endings.
For real?
For Rizzle. And the
I used to call it my pink thing when I was little, along with my middle.
Oh my God, you're lucky you knew it. I didn't discover it until I was like 20.
Me too.
Well, no, because it would rub on my jeans, and I'd be like, it's drying out. It's really comfortable, this pink thing.
Right. Exactly. Right. A lot of women do discover it early on. I hate them. Those women, no, I'm kidding. Like, riding a bike, I had an orgasm at 5. I'm like, really? You're so
I had no clue until I was in my early 20s.
Yeah.
That I was actually supposed to feel something when things were happening down there.
Totally. But the clitoris, that's why it's the man, like, to give you an example, like the penis has like, I can't always get this, like 1,000 nerve endings. Like the clitoris, that's why it's there. And so the problem is, so the clitoris is, all women have clitorises, you know, unless they've had the horrible, like, surgery, you know.
Right.
You don't have to get into
Do
Africa.
people have it removed?
Like in Africa. People
right.
Yeah,
where they
see the Book of Mormon.
They chop it off. Yeah, that's we're not going to talk about that. But
about having your clit removed?
It's like genocide on.
Of course she did.
Oh, God.
Yeah, but we're talking about, we are female circumcision, but we are talking about the clitoris. That's why it's there, pleasure. And women have it. It's like a little nub, like at the top of your, you know, labia. And for women, you know, some women, it's hidden behind the clitoral hood.
Behind all the hair.
Yeah, behind the hair. If you got a big bush. This is another reason why if you shave, it's easier to find. And so it becomes engorged when you get aroused. So then you can find it a lot easier. And it is the key to most women's pleasure to having an orgasm. Yeah. So there's different kinds of orgasms. There's the clitoral orgasm, and then there's like the G-spot orgasm or the internal orgasm. And really they're all kind of connected, but most women need clitoral stimulation to even have any other kind of orgasm. So like there's a lot of women who can have a G-spot orgasm or an internal one, but they need the clitoris stimulated first. So the thing about the clitoris is, and the problems with the clitoris is that, well, most men can't find it, but we're going to get into that in a minute, is that we are told as women that we have sex with a man or with a woman, whoever you have sex with, or let's talk about a man because intercourse, that you're going to have an orgasm because he's going in and out, and then you're going to have an orgasm. And then there's like most of the population of women are like, what the hell? I didn't have an orgasm. It's because the penis is nowhere near the clitoris when you're doing the in and out. The clitoris does not get enough stimulation during sex. It really doesn't on its own. So that's why you need to use your fingers. You need to sit, there's certain positions that are better.
That makes me wonder, just in terms of our creator, why wasn't it put in a spot where it was like, you know, guys, I mean, there's no other thing to use but the thing that gives them pleasure.
Exactly.
And then for us, of course, it's hidden. Why wouldn't it be just like up
it's
in
just
there?
the unfair trick. Maybe we're not supposed to be with men.
Exactly. Well, originally it was like a penis. They say it was like chopped off and the clitoris was, you know, all women or men. And then,
really?
You know,
Okay.
Yeah. But anyway, so that's why it's there. So the thing is that women need,
Adam and Steve.
what I tell women all the time is that they need extra clitoral stimulation, and not to be intimidated during sex to say to your partner or yourself to start touching yourself there. Use lots of lube and touch yourself. He can use his fingers, or use sex toys for people. Like sex toys, there's so many amazing toys out there now that you can use that are like very discreet. You can put it on your clitoris and you can have an orgasm that way. So most women, they start masturbating, or Kristen, you were saying when you were younger, crying. You're crying. It's usually like, you know, you hear these stories about women like, I was horseback riding when I was 6 and I had an orgasm. I know. Or I was riding a bike. It's because their clitoris, right? So it's, and the thing about the clitoris is that this is how we can have multiple orgasms too. I mean, you could just keep arousing, and every woman is different. Here's the other thing is that, you know, a lot of women, their upper left quadrant of the clitoris is more sensitive. Some women in the upper, it's broken into quadrants. Like, I'm just lucky the guy can find it. There's like 8 quadrants, right? Like there's quadrants. And it's sensitive in different areas, and it definitely engorges when you get turned on, and then it'll be easier to have an orgasm.
Which means like swells?
It swells, exactly. Okay. It swells. And, you know, there's blood that rushes to it, and then it swells. And
so
you
like
can
a penis.
See it opens up like a penis. It swells, your lips open, and your clitoris swells, and you have orgasm. So that's really the only purpose is to have pleasure. And I think that a lot of men are sort of confused by it because none of them aren't quite sure where to find it. And then when they do, they think, well, the last person I was with, she really liked it when I went straight for it and I used my fingers and I rubbed it really hard. Well, some women just want it rubbed around the outside. They want it light. Every single woman is different. And you have 100 women in the room orgasming or masturbating, and they're all going to be touching themselves differently. They're all going to be, because you can't. I'm sorry, guys. Like, there's not like a one size fits all for, like, there's not one trick I can tell you except for to pay attention and to.
What does that mean though? Pay
attention. So let's say, first of all, pay attention. Like, when you're touching her, is she like moaning? Does it look like it feels good? Or is she like wincing in pain? How is she reacting? Does her breath quicken? But so you have to pay attention, because a lot of women aren't as comfortable telling their partner.
Right.
You know, and I talk about this on my podcast all the time, Sex with Emily, is that women are not raised, and hopefully it's changing now, to communicate sexually with their partner what they need.
I didn't.
We think someday my prince will come and so will I, right?
Right.
He's going to show up, this guy, and I'm just going to have crazy orgasms. Well, guess what? Guys don't know. So you need to tell them, oh, a little to the left, a little to the right, or whatever it is that you need. But there is no man, no woman on the planet that's going to know your body better than yourself. So the most important work you can do sexually as a woman is to know your own body. Like, spend time masturbating, spend time figuring out what makes you feel good. Because then when the prince comes, you can say, here, buddy, this is exactly what you did.
Start rubbing here.
And so I always tell guys to slow down, like start slow. Most women don't want you to go right for it because we're not warmed up yet, which is why foreplay is so important. You know, you got to get us warmed up, kissing, slowly undressing. And I'm not talking about every single time. Sometimes you can throw her down the bed and rip her clothes off. I have no problem with that. But for most women, you need to get her warmed up.
Yeah.
Start touching her over her pants, over her underwear. Don't immediately take her underwear off and just get right into it.
Yeah.
And
like, I like when people start touching me on my third layer of pants that I'm wearing.
Me too. Exactly. Right. Exactly. Of your chastity belt, the whole thing. Yeah. And then eventually you get in there. And then I always tell guys, go 5 times slower than you think. Touch it slower and use lots of lube.
And how do they find it?
How do they find it?
Is there like a quick way to tell them how to find it?
It's at the top. It's like a little nub at like the top of like your vaginal opening. So you know where you're sticking your penis in. If you looked right above that, there's a little nub there. And sometimes it's a little,
it feels like a button.
It's a pea. It's like a button. It's like a pea size. And it is, on most women, you know, you can find it. Sometimes it's hidden though. And some women, it's sticking out. I mean, it's literally every woman is different, but it's always at the top there. And also, those 8,000 nerve endings are not just in that pea. Those nerves extend all around that area. So it can feel really good to rub like her lips and then inside even the G-spot orgasm. Or if you rub above her pubic bone for a lot of women, that
that's
feels
amazing
good.
For me.
Yeah, me too. So that's because those are the nerves from the clitoris that you're rubbing and touching that can feel good. So it's not just about, it is so nervy, the nerve of that clitoris. So it's exciting, you know, no pun intended, that it has such a great reach and there's so much that you can do to it, and that it's important to have lubricant. So I love lubricant. Like I always say, you can never be too rich, too thin, have too much lube. Because lube has such a stigma to it. I think it's like, oh, she's dry, she's uncomfortable, we better whip out the lube. And it's like, no, like put lube on your nightstand. Like even if she's wet, it feels really good. She should be lubricated. So lick your fingers or use lubricant and just start lightly like rubbing around it, rub her thighs, and then you can make your way into touching the clitoris lightly or however she wants it to be touched. And then oral sex with the clitoris is a whole nother. I mean, I could go on.
That's like a whole other episode. Maybe we'll wait till next time.
I could go on for 18 hours. But is that an good intro?
No, that was a very good intro.
I actually have a book which you can buy on their Amazon link, which you should do it right now. It's called Hot Sex: Over 200 Things You Can Try Tonight, and it's a really cool book because you've seen the book, right? We took real pictures of people having sex, but they're actually they're illustrated, and so it's not like too aggressive, scary pictures, but they're really beautifully illustrated, and we have great pictures of the anatomy in there where you can actually see the clitoris and the entire female body and the male body, male structure, and you know how things work. And there's 200 positions that are pretty easy to do. 200 things. It's not just positions. Like you can use whips and stuff like that too.
I love that.
And I have my own lube too, but we'll talk about that in a minute.
Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah. Well, one thing that I want to ask you, would you suggest that guys communicate with the girls that they're with? Like even if it's somebody that they're with for one night, should they ask questions? Like, does this feel, or what should they do?
It depends how far they go. I mean, if you're the first night and you're getting down there and you're getting busy, I mean, I feel like you could just start with, so let's say he starts to go down her pants, right? I don't know. Some guys just kind of go down on them. I don't know. But I wouldn't start away like just like, hey, so you like this, you like that, but just go slow. Like that's my first advice, is just to go slow. And also start with her breasts. Like it bums me out when I'm with a guy and he goes right for my pants. I'm like, what about the breasts? Like whatever happened to my erogenous zones that you know about? But I feel like guys are so sometimes in a rush because they're like, I feel like many men, the reason why they move so fast is because they're so used to getting shut down a lot in life.
They're like,
holy shit, I'm in here. I'm in, and I better go really quick because she doesn't shut me down.
It's like robbing a bank.
Right.
Like you're in there, you get in, you get out, you get your shit.
Exactly. Yeah. That's what they're thinking. So I think you slow down, start again, tease. Teasing is like the number one thing that women always say that they want that men don't quite know how to do. And all I mean is slow down, rub her over her pants, like her thighs, kiss her neck. That's another erogenous zone. So start to get her excited before you even get into her pants. And then when you get in her pants, again, if you start rubbing lightly over the underwear and then you start, using your fingers or your mouth, then you can just start to, lightly like if you're performing oral sex, use your tongue, start licking around there, and then you could see, like, does that feel good? How does that feel? But I wouldn't like ask a million questions like an interrogation. But if it looks like she's uncomfortable or wincing or something, but ask questions. Be like, how does that feel? And a lot of women might lie and say that's good. Again, haven't you done that? I'm like, yeah, it's great. Yeah, everything's great. But just again, pay attention. So many men are in their head thinking, am I doing it right? Am I doing it right? But they're not paying attention to her cues. So when you're doing something right that feels good, you'll notice her eyes might be rolling back in her head. Her breath will quicken. I mean, her toes will curl. I mean, she'll grab
Well, that's my way of letting a guy know that he's doing something right. Sometimes I'll even exaggerate certain moves that says, okay, you're on the right path. Continue doing that. Or I'll move my body a certain way so they know to move their hand in that direction towards my clitoris.
Yeah, that's a great thing for women to do too. Yeah, move like a little to the side. Or I always say, I'm like, a little, slow down. So like, I always tell guys and they're like, they're grateful. I feel like men are grateful for any feedback. But if she's not giving you any, you're not sure, and look, she's just lying there, then say, babe, what do you like? What feels good? How's this? But do it in a slow, soft, subtle way.
Yeah.
Like
if a guy goes fast, it's almost like he's still a little boy. It's like
he's
that
like
excitement.
Right.
Yeah.
Or anything fast. Right.
Yeah.
I feel like it can burn off your clitoris sometimes.
Yeah, and they think you should rub. That's going to hurt.
It's an Indian burn.
Especially
if you're not
on.
using lube.
Yeah. Oh my God, lube is so important. And so that's why you have to make sure that you are, again, like slowing it down and start, like a lot of women like it. They can orgasm just from like little, like you're barely touching.
Yeah.
And you also need to mix it up. So whether it's your fingers or your tongue, or your mouth, you do, circular tongue for a while, and then you might suck on it a bit, or you might move around it and then go back in, or, it's just different for every woman. And you just have to try different things, and kind of like performing oral sex on a guy, like you mix it up, right?
And you try different things out.
Right. And you see what works. And then eventually you can tell, and especially if the first time you're with someone, not always so easy. And don't be bummed if she doesn't have an orgasm the first time, because I think women are a little trickier. So, just try to do your best.
Well, what are some like cool moves that they can try with their hands? Because have you ever heard of the butterfly move?
What's that, like tapping?
So it's like, no. It's like where this is going to be hard to explain over radio, but it's where you open the lips and then you like make like butterfly movements. I don't know, like sparkle hands or jazz hands or whatever.
Jazz hands.
But then you go on the inside with like over the clitoris. I'm showing you, but I know that people can't see what it is.
Right.
Actually, it's on my website. If you want to go to winggirlmethod.com, and there's an article on my blog about 3 myths you'll learn from porn. If you want to search for that, it'll show you a visual of the butterfly move, because I'm doing a horrible job at explaining it right
I know
now.
what you mean, but you pull the lips apart, or you're saying you just rub around the clitoris like in light little
both.
patterns.
You pull the lips apart and then you rub around the clitoris.
Right.
But it's like little butterflies.
Yeah,
like
like butterfly clitoris with your fingers, or like lightly
jazz
touching.
hands.
Exactly. And that's a tease, because the longer you wait to actually, so my tips would be lightly rub her over her underwear. Once you get her pants off, good job. You did that. Keep her underwear on as long as you can. I say panties, but panties kind of bugs me, that word, but whatever you want to use. But her underwear, leave it on a little bit longer. And here's why. When you start lightly rubbing over her underwear, it's not just that you're teasing her, which you are, but the fabric can feel really good against the clitoris. So that's doing something else too to her. Like that feels really good. You can, and not just the clitoris, you can move your hands all over. You can grab her behind. You can move your fingers. You can even try to, put your fingers like inside a little bit, but over the underwear, and just like wait as long as you can before removing her panties. And then you want her to be like begging. You want her to be like dying for you to take off her panties.
Well, did you ever see that movie 40 Days and 40 Nights?
I don't think so, but
it was with Josh Hartnett, and he was like having a vow of celibacy for 40 days, and he met this girl during that time period.
Of course.
And they couldn't touch each other, but he could like do things to her, and he made her orgasm just with a feather. Just because of like the teasing of like them not being able to have sex, which of course is like the heightened level of teasing.
Right.
And then like brushing her body with a feather, she had a complete orgasm, not even from going anywhere near her vagina.
Absolutely.
It was amazing.
I mean, it's so, and a lot of women can have orgasms without even being touched. Like in their mind, like the thing is, because their brain, especially for women, is our largest sex organ. So much goes on in our mind, and we're thinking things, and you're prolonging it. So I would just say like tease.
I feel like for certain girls, it's not their largest sex organ.
Right.
Yeah, because all you're thinking is, I don't want this, I don't want this, I don't want this.
Right.
So.
You got to get out of your head.
Well, what is one way to help a woman get out of her head? I know that it's not a man's responsibility to do that, but if you do want a great sexual experience, what are ways that he can help her get out of her head and get really into the moment?
I mean, honestly, I don't think that he can help her. I think it's like a meditation. It's almost like if you've ever done any meditation, I would say that for women and for men, because guys are in their head too during sex. Like, am I going to come? Am I going to come? Oh my God. Oh, there I go. So I think it's taking your mind out of those thoughts. Like, for women, a lot of times why they can't orgasm is because they're thinking, am I going to orgasm? Is it about to happen? Is it about to happen?
Right.
So I would say take yourself out of the thinking and into the feeling. So then if the second you think yourself thinking stuff like, oh, does he think I'm fat? Am I whatever women are insecurities they have during sex, and go into like, what am I feeling at this moment? Okay, his fingers are touching me. That feels good. Like get into the sensations in your body. And it is, I don't know if you've ever done meditation, but they tell you like recognize your thoughts and then let them go. Notice your thoughts and let them pass you. So it's like every time you notice yourself like in your head or like your to-do list or something's going to have phone's ringing, just go back to what I'm feeling in this moment. And like how his lips feel, how his fingers feel, how your body's feeling, and get into your body because that's what it's all about.
Absolutely. I had this when I went to summer camp. It's funny that we were talking about it before the show, summer camp. But when I went to summer camp when I was younger and I got to be like in the older ages, we could choose whatever activities we wanted to. So we would always choose gymnastics to go to, but not because we like gymnastics, but because they had this meditation tape that you could play. And so we just went there and slept for an hour. But it was a meditation tape, and that's all that they would do. It would literally just highlight a part of your body and say, focus on that part of the body, the blood flowing through it relaxing into the ground, whatever it was. If you can apply that to sex and just be like, okay, I'm having sex with somebody and like, what are they doing to my body? What am I feeling in my vagina? What am I feeling on my breast? Like all of those things, it takes you off of those other thoughts that you were having before. So that's actually a really good tip.
And it takes practice. Like it's not like the first time, but like it's almost like every time you're like, it might be like 100 times during sex, you'd be like, oh my God, am I going to come? Okay, back to his feeling. Am I going to back to the feeling? And then eventually you'll just train your mind to be in the moment, which is like a lifelong process for all of us.
Yeah.
Right?
Start
that's
by
hard to do for
like
everybody.
It's so hard to do
while having sex.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and sometimes music does. Yeah, but really, right, exactly. But music does help people sometimes get their mind off things or whatever you need to like set the atmosphere, candles.
I just realized my husband doesn't do that anymore. He used to have like mixtapes and stuff. We would light candles. We don't do that anymore at all. I'm going to restart that.
I gave you one of my candles too. Did you ever use it?
That we use in the bathtub.
Do you love it?
Yeah, I love it.
I know. EmilyandTony.com. I made these massage candles that
but they're oil.
They're oil
as well.
Yeah, no,
and they
I know.
smell amazing.
Right.
I burned it after, I loved it, but I burned it after my cat would use the litter box.
Right. Well, that's the thing is that they're beautiful in your home, but then also they turn into this luxurious massage oil. They're all natural coconut oil, soybean oil.
They're amazing.
And then you pour it. It's another little like foreplay thing. If you guys like massage, it's a great gateway to intimacy. You can have it lit on your table. No one knows. It doesn't scream massage candle because they're beautiful candles.
Right.
And then it pools into warm oil, not hot. You can't burn her. It's not waxy, sticky.
No, it's very nice.
And then you pour it on your partner's body. It feels amazing.
I love it.
Feels
Or
amazing.
I use
So where
as
is it again?
body
Where can they
lotion.
get it?
EmilyandTony.com. Use coupon code Emily and you get 20% off.
And they are very classy looking.
Yeah,
They are. They're very nice looking candles.
Yeah, they're beautiful. They're from France. We have 3 scents. There's the Fougere, which is sort of a woodsy. They're all for men and women. And we've coconut.
I like the white one, the coconut one.
Yeah, the coconut. And
The woodsy
vanilla.
one's for the gay guys.
But it's not though. Here's the thing. It's pine. But the Fougere, which is the woodsy one, the black candle, it's actually become my favorite. And vanilla
Really?
was my favorite. There's something like woodsy pine. I don't know. I
like
just love
earthy
it.
I'm never into
real.
those smells. I really like,
I'm not
vanilla
either.
and coconut.
And
Those
so
are
those are all
fantastic.
good too. But they're selling like crazy because no one's ever, because people think, because again,
'Cause
all
it's
3 of them,
sexy.
because they're sexy.
Yeah.
And then I use it like, I don't always have someone over massaging me, but I'll just light it and put it on my skin as like a moisturizer in the summer because it's like, or in the winter because it's cold, whatever, dry skin.
Yeah.
And you're okay with putting that on your vagina too, right?
You can, yeah, you can. You shouldn't put it inside of you.
Right, because I was going to say.
But I have a lubricant though too, EmilyandTony.com lubricant that I love because I thought the same thing. I'm like, I want to make a lube that's safe for everybody because also the thing about our products are that they don't look like, it's a high-end intimate care line. So it doesn't look like lube, like bottle of,
Right.
KY on your, it's like, it looks like face lotion.
Exactly. It looks like a nice hand lotion beside your bed.
Leave it by your bed,
Right,
but you
right.
can't tell. And then you just, oh, here, I have some lube right here.
Right.
So
I love it.
Oh, and then the Down Under comfort. We'll talk about that.
So it's good if your
so much
parents are
stuff.
coming over.
Well, good thing you're going to be here for 2 episodes.
I know. I'm so glad.
Because there's so much to cover. But we have Kline Kline coming up in the second half of our show, which is going to happen very shortly. And she is going to update us on her Tinder adventures. And you are also going to tell us about your Tinder adventures.
Yes.
Because this is a new thing for you.
It's brand new. I love that we're talking about Tinder.
I
Obsessed.
love it. Okay, so you're fresh with it.
So we have two Tinderellas in the house.
Yes, exactly.
I
So
love that.
perfect.
So you guys, before we get to anything else, I want to talk to you about the fact that I just ordered flowers on proflowers.com. I have made the mistakes in the past because my grandmother lives in Utah. I clearly do not, thank God. And like I've ordered them maybe like the day before and I never get really what I want. This is the time. If someone lives far away from you, this is the way in to their heart. I always order my grandma flowers every year. This year I got roses on ProFlowers. They were super affordable for roses because roses are always really expensive. I got a striped vase. It was like $29.99 and like $5 for the vase. If you buy roses anywhere, they're always way more expensive than that. And I also feel really awesome about what I did because she will get her flowers. I look really good. My brother and sister are going to look really bad. So I suggest doing that because that's definitely a way to get a gift for somebody that you can't really be next to. Do what I did. Go to proflowers.com and there's a little microphone up in the top. Click that and then type in ask and then it will bring you, it'll say like, hey, Ask Women listener, and then you'll get to feel really proud while you're shopping. Go to their website and do that, the little microphone. Must do it soon because the order expires midnight on Friday. So do your shopping, go to proflowers.com, look for the little microphone button at the top right-hand side of the page, and then click that, and all you have to do is type in ask. It's not like you do a dash ask anything code. They just literally say, like, what's your password? Ask. And you can also do it by calling 1-800-PRO-FLOWERS and then mention ask to them on the phone.
So after the break, we have Chloe Kline talking to us about Tinder, how to use it, what to do, her adventures. It'll be interesting. So stay tuned.
This is an important announcement for anyone with a student loan who is having trouble making their monthly payments. If that's you, pay attention, because there's a special toll-free hotline that has been set up especially for you. So grab a pen and take this number down, or put it in your cell phone. 1-800-652-3707. That's 1-800-652-3707. When you call the National Student Loan Relief Hotline, you will get free information. That's free information to help you relieve the overwhelming financial burden of an ongoing endless student loan. If you are behind, late on payments, or even in default of your student loan, the National Student Loan Relief Hotline can help you. You may also be able to cut your payments in half right away. The National Student Loan Relief Hotline can also stop the harassing phone calls, wage garnishments, and even remove tax liens. The National Student Loan Relief partner companies have helped thousands of people just like you fix their student loan problem. Call 1-800-652-3707 for free information today. That's 1-800-652-3707. You're listening to the Ask Women Podcast, a Podcast One presentation.
Whatever. Hey guys, welcome back to the Ask Women Podcast. We are here with the very informative Tinderella woman who I like. That's going to be my new phrase.
Seriously, I like that.
Yeah, she's Chloe Kline. So you go out and you talk and you go on dates on Tinder.
Yes, well, we had her on our show a long time ago. Remember, she was calling in as our rep from Chicago, but now she's in Los Angeles.
Yes, I am.
And yeah, we're meeting her in person, and she is going to tell us about her recent adventures. But actually, Emily was just telling us that she just registered for Tinder.
Did it in New York. My friend grabbed my phone on Valentine's Day. I don't know if she was like worried about me or something. I said, I
wonder if it crashed on Valentine's Day.
I know, seriously.
Seriously.
We were in New York, and she did it. And then, anyway, we should explain what Tinder is.
Yes.
First of all, people don't know.
It's fantastic, number one.
Yes.
Number two.
Yeah, how would you explain it?
I love Tinder because I feel like it takes dating back to like its just main, sort of raw components where it's just an app on your phone and
back to the old days. Yeah. Well, it's an app on your phone.
Right.
Okay. So it takes it back to the days and like old days, but putting it in a new sort of medium. So like But you basically look at pictures and you decide if this person in your vicinity is attractive or not. So you're like, yes or no, if you think they're attractive, which is kind of what happens, or used to happen anyway in bars. You'd look at someone, yeah, I think they're attractive, yeah, I don't. And then you either go up and start a conversation or not.
But now it's widening your view. So it's not like just people who are in the bar. You can set it to whatever distance you like, right?
Right, yes. And I recommend...
if you're into driving really far to get disappointed.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
I mean, I don't do anything over a 1 mile radius.
Oh, see, that's good.
Really? What do you do?
Well, I'm playing with it. Well, when I was in New York, I think I had like 5 miles, which was too much in New York. Even in LA, I think
it's way too far.
That's a long distance relationship.
I know it is in LA. So, but like, let's back up for a quick second. That the interesting about Tinder is that there's only 2 things that you have to answer. Like, all you do is have to you log in through Facebook, and you say, that the age range that you're looking for. So I'm looking for, if you're a woman or, a guy who's in the age range of 25 to 35, let's say. And then you pick how far you want to be. Do you want to be a mile, 10 miles? What's your distance? And then that's it. And then all these guys, let's say if you're a woman, start popping up. And then you can say
I'd pick the furthest because it'd be the best excuse to not go out too often, but yet have a companion if you guys are into each other.
Right.
Takes the pressure off.
Right. Then you get a long distance relationship.
Right. That's a safe way for Kristen to use Tinder.
You do need to make sure you set if you're looking for men or women, though, because I've had a lot of friends get women in their feed, and they're like, "Why is this happening?"
Right.
And it's because they forgot.
That's true. That's the third thing. The third thing is that you put men or women.
I've had a lot of people that are like, "Why are these girls showing up?" Oh, you forgot to set that setting.
You might be interested.
And here's another thing, just one more thing that I was confused about Tinder and why I didn't do it is because it does access your Facebook. So I thought that all my friends would see that I was on it, but all it does is if all the guys that happen to be in the vicinity in your age range, I'm talking men just because that's what I'm looking for. If you happen to have, it's not only Facebook that uses. So if there's a guy that's a mile away that I happen to have two mutual friends on Facebook, it'll say. But most of the guys just happen to be in the right age range in the vicinity.
Yeah. So does it show your profile picture or does it show your pictures?
You can pick which ones you want up there. It grabs your profile.
Emily, you're lying to us.
Right. Well, then you say, well, that's how you set. Right. You got to pick you can pick up to 4 photos. 5?
It's 5 now. Yeah.
5.
Yeah, they've expanded.
But if
I've had much better luck with the 5 pictures. I'm just saying.
Me too.
That 5th picture really does
range. You can show your range.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah. Anyway,
Okay.
so that's what you do. You pick your picture.
Yeah.
But if you don't pick picture, it'll just grab your profile picture from Facebook, right?
Right. And
but you can also delete that and add whatever you want.
Yeah, you can totally go through any picture you have on Facebook and choose 5. And the nice thing about the Facebook thing too is that if it shows that you've got mutual friends in common, I'll screenshot it and send it to that mutual friend and be like, what do you think of this guy? And I've gotten feedback like, do not even go near that dude. Like,
really?
Yeah.
Yep.
And then I've gotten other things like, oh, I kind of knew him in high school, so whatever, just go for it.
And the girls are like, I fucked him last week, so,
So
go for it.
I've
Seems
had that.
awesome.
I've had that too.
Really?
Oh yeah. One of my friends, she was like, I went out with that guy 3 months ago.
So my question is, how come? So you haven't found anyone consistent yet. So how come you've gone on so many dates? Is it just the quality of people isn't where it should be?
Well, no. I mean, I have 2 girlfriends that have met their boyfriends on Tinder, and my brother met his girlfriend on Tinder.
Okay.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
So it is creating real relationships.
It
But
is.
it's funny because I asked my sister about it because she's 26 or she's 25, and I said, "Are you on Tinder?" And she said, "No, that's a hookup site."
It all depends what you're looking for. It can be a hookup site, and right away, because they send you a message through the Tinder platform, and right away, if a guy says, what are you doing right now? Do you want to come over? And you're like, well, okay, I know what you're looking for. And, and if that's what you're looking for, then go for it, you know? But,
does it show your actual Facebook information after you guys connect? Can they?
No.
No, it
does
shows
not.
anything that you've liked on Facebook, like music pages or things like
See,
that.
I wish I could control that too.
Yeah, because it shows if you have mutual things. So if you like a mutual band or something,
Right.
Or if
cool.
you
So
like
it's commonalities.
yeah, and then so that's kind of if you need something to talk about or something.
Right, yeah.
But I'm telling you, I've been in LA now for 48 hours, and Tinder is so awesome out here. It's so much better than Chicago. I already have a date for after this.
She's got to go right now. Right.
Really?
So you like dating, so you find dating enjoyable.
I love meeting new people. I just think it's so much fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's the percentage that you're hooking up with these people afterward?
Well, unfortunately, the dates are pretty bad. So, the percentage right now is real low. hello.
Yeah.
But I mean, I've met one of my best friends now from Tinder.
Really?
He and I, we went out, I think it was last time I was on this podcast. He and I were going out and it was kind of going pretty well, but we just didn't really have like a huge, romantic connection. And we both kind of were like, yeah, just not feeling it, but I really enjoy your company. This is great. And now he and I are really, really good friends.
See, that's the
cool.
thing. You can also meet friends from it. I think especially if you move to a new city.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, everyone you meet, they're probably looking to get laid initially, but there could be a great connection.
Absolutely.
And you can meet a lot. It's a great way to meet people really quickly.
Yeah. You can also have like super disaster dates, though, that are super funny just to like have the best story at the next cocktail party.
Give us your best.
Like rape.
Oh my God.
Rape is funny.
Super funny. I'd have so many rape stories when I was at Tinder.
Of you raping them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You always have to tell, I'm very safe about it. You have to tell people where you're going.
Yeah. Well, same with online dating. Same thing.
Yeah. And Twitter usually knows like all of where I'm going for every date. Like, the whole Twitter world knows where I'm at. So, but this last date I went on was about a week ago, and I was super impressed because the guy made reservations at a restaurant.
You have low
happens,
expectations.
right?
You're like, I was so impressed he made reservations.
Yeah. He's like, I got us an 8:30 reservation. I was like, holy shit. Like, this guy's for real.
Wow.
Yeah. So, and it was one of those dates where like, it's kind of like a slow explosion where you don't really realize it's going bad until like halfway through. And I was like, I know the last words you said to your dying grandmother, and you don't know what I do for a living.
Like, he just kept talking.
Oh my God.
Jesus.
It was like a therapy
That's why he called to make reservations. He just wanted to talk to the person on the phone.
Exactly.
Totally. So I started counting the questions that he asked me, and I'm pretty sure it was like 4.5. And 2 of them were, one was, have you had any surgeries? And are you really religious? And I was like, what?
I like this guy.
Like, he gets to the point. He wants to know.
Of course the rapist was like this.
Right, exactly.
Have you had any surgeries? I'm going to need to know about, like, any open wounds that might leave DNA.
Exactly. I think this brings up just a side note here for what you guys do on your Ask Women podcast. It's like, for men on dates, like, this is the biggest, I hear this all the time. This is like women all the time. Like, he didn't ask one thing about me.
Well, did he watch The Bachelor last night?
No.
Okay, so on The Bachelor last night, they had the girls tell
ask
all
her questions. Just shut
and
your mouth.
every woman that was on the show said he didn't know one thing about me. He didn't ask me any questions. He kept saying he's looking for a wife, but didn't ask me any questions. I know everything about him, but he doesn't know who I am. And like, they were getting so mad and furious. Like, the more that somebody,
I advise women that if guys do that, just openly roll your eyes. Honestly, don't try to be polite.
Right.
I'm telling you, because they need to learn a lesson, and because the thing is, they get away with it. It's like, oh, the date didn't go well, and they don't know why, and then they do it on the next one.
Well, okay, I'm going to tell you a quick story, actually, because my sister-in-law once called me from the bathroom and said, Marni, I'm having a horrible time on a date. I'm with this guy. I met him before. I knew he was really great before I went out with him this time, but now, this time, he keeps talking and talking and talking and talking and won't ask me anything about myself, and he was so wonderful the first time that I met him. What do I do? And I was like, well, most likely he's nervous. He's trying to fill the void, fill the space, avoid awkward silences. Go back to the table, put your hand on top of his hand, and say, like, letting him know we're in this together. Smile. And then I'm telling you, he'll start to calm down and ask you questions. And she wrote me afterwards and said, your voodoo magic worked. Wow. So that is the thing. A lot of guys are super nervous and they don't want to have those awkward silences. So they just keep talking sometimes, or they're arrogant assholes.
My theory is that they don't hang around women very often.
Right.
And so they're not sitting around with their dude friends being like, oh, these are my feelings and this is what happened in 4th grade. And then all of a sudden they're around a woman who, is more receptive.
And blah.
Yeah. And it's just like, all of a sudden, it's throwing up on you, like with word vomit, and it really does turn into a therapy session, like more times than not.
Yeah. It's like they need a mom in a way.
Well, and there's no space for connection either because you're not actually having a conversation. I have a blog on my blog, or an article on my blog right now about communication threading that people should go check out. It's all about like exactly what you just said. When guys talk to each other, they're talking to find out information. When women talk to each other, they're trying to find out emotion and trying to find out and share more and get more out of the conversation. So when a man and a woman talk, there's a lot of confusion. And so this article actually tells you how to talk to a woman without becoming a woman. And that's about listening and asking questions and like adding on to what she said. So that's a really good point that was brought up. Yeah. But I want to hear more about okay, so for you, because you haven't been successful on Tinder, do you think it's the way that you're using Tinder and selecting people on there that may be the reason why you are finding people that you don't actually connect with?
I think my problem is that I have like zero expectations, and so I'm just kind of like, oh, sure, I'll go out with you.
That's what I just told Emily to do. I'm like, just say yes to everybody.
Yeah,
Exactly.
I mean, I pretty much do, unless they're like wielding a knife in their picture or something.
Right.
I'll be like,
That would totally be your type of
Yeah.
What if it's like, sign me up?
I'll send you those pics.
Unless it was a butter knife. Then.
But so Emily, how do you use it then? Because I know you're new to it.
Yeah, I'm new to it. I just start looking at, I look at, hopefully they have more than one photo, but like sometimes their first photo, they're wearing like a hat. They have one photo and they got a hat and sunglasses. And you're like, really? Like, what are you telling me? Nothing? Like, you're incognito. Done.
yeah.
You reject, you say no. Because all you do is you swipe yes or no. If you say yes and you click the yes. So I think that I just look for guys that I look at their pictures and I just for a second, like what story are they doing? First of all, if I find they're cute, I'll look at their photos or I'm attracted, something intrigues me. And then I'll just look at a few of their photos and sometimes I'm not sure, but I'll just say yes anyway. But pretty often I'm pretty not sure. And I just say no. If I don't see any attraction.
Right. And you were saying before you wait for them to write to you.
I do, but I've always been like that in my dating life. And not that I know it's 2014 and women can do whatever, ask men out, but I have always been this way. It'll say you have a match. So we should also explain how it works, that I can go through and say yes, yes, no, no, no. And if someone had happened to see my photo and he also liked me and vice versa, it'll say, you guys are matched. So then he goes into my matched thing, but I would never say, hey, we're matched. I wait for them to message first.
Do you do that too, Chloe?
Absolutely. And the reason is, and it's not even so much about, like the traditional thing. It's really about time. I'm just like, I don't know. I have time to like go through and, and again.
I'm saying yes to everybody.
Yeah, I'm saying yes to all these jokers. Like, I don't know. So, but what's been awesome again about being out in LA is I have gotten so many messages from my matches where in Chicago, I'll match with like 17 people
They're too
and
polite in
never
Chicago.
hear from anyone.
Really?
And then out here, like yesterday, I started
all you gotta do
Tindering
is
yesterday.
write.
I got messages from almost every match, and I was like, "This is amazing. I just
That
need
is
to
so
fucking move
cool.
here."
Right. Well,
Can you tell us
Why am I
about
here?
good messages and
Yes,
bad
I was
messages?
just going to do that. Because I'm not
Well, let's
having-
read through them, 'cause
my
I'm sure there's really
Wi-Fi-
douchey
the Wi-Fi
comments,
in here
too.
is there like a Wi-Fi? Okay, can you? So here's the
Art,
thing.
what's the Wi-Fi for in here? Now everybody's gonna be like,
Oh no, we'll
linking
do
up to our
it.
Wi-Fi.
But so for example, there's some that's like, "Hi, glad we matched." Bored. I'm already bored. I'm sleeping.
Yeah.
If that's our
Yeah.
first date, I'm falling asleep.
I'm sad we matched.
But then another thing, I'm like, hey, we matched. But some guy,
like somebody writes, "Hey, we matched."
yeah, he's like,
exclamation
"Hey,
mark.
glad we matched."
And
When
then
did I say that?
there's no opening for that.
Right.
It's
So
just
they
a
need opening. This is where you guys talk
Yes.
about. So, and then but another guy said, to me something to the effect of like, how many words is it going to take till it was just something cuter than
Engaging.
like, yeah, he was
That's what it
engaged
is.
me. He said, so how many, he said something like, hi. I said, I don't remember what it was. And then I said something short and he said, you seem like you're going to need a lot of words to get, it was just something cute. It was something like,
It starts a
playful.
banter.
Personality.
He started a banter.
Well, this is the
It
whole
showed
thing. It's taking
personality.
a bar scenario and putting it onto your handheld device.
Exactly.
So you
Right.
still have to apply that flirting and banter and excitement
Exactly.
to whatever it
In
is.
fact, more
whatever
than
you-
ever.
Absolutely. Because it's
that's-
even harder to come across over text or over messaging, whatever it is. What are some of the worst and best messages you've ever received from guys?
The worst are things that it's like, "Hi, beautiful." It's just again, it's like cheesy bar line.
It's like, where do you go from that? That's
Right. Because I don't know, you're sending that to everyone.
Hey, Stephanie.
Even something simple, like, how was your weekend? How's your week going? Just kind of like, it's very innocuous. It's a good opener. Or commenting on pictures. Like, I have a picture from a street fair in Chicago where I'm standing next to a cardboard cutout of Judge Mathis. So, like, I've gotten comments on that, like, "Oh, so what's Judge Mathis like?" Or something funny. Again, like starting the banter, showing that like
You're
you
paying
really
attention.
did. Yeah, you really
someone's
did.
like, is that your dog? I have a picture of like my dog in there.
Yeah.
And like, so here's one like that I liked from this one guy. And the first thing he said to me was, I just kind of explained it, but he said, "Good morning, Emily. How many words do you need?" And it was just funny. Like,
Oh, I like that because it's almost open ended.
and I said, and I just wrote counting ... And he's like, "I'm getting the feeling you're closer to War and Peace than a short story." And then we just started this great banter.
I like
Where
that.
like other guys are like, "Glad we matched. Get in touch.
Yeah.
Email me back." I'm like, no.
It's like, no,
Right.
why would I ever want to write you back? So, so then where do you date from this? Like, how soon are you like, yes, I want to go out with you? And how soon are you like, yes, ask me out?
I always wait for them to ask me out. And if they don't do it within, pretty soon, then I just kind of
Move on.
forget
Like pretty
about it,
soon
yeah.
is what? Like one day or 5 messages or
I would say, within 5 messages, 1 day. Otherwise, it's just, you're just getting
Your pen
bored.
pals.
Yeah, your pen pals on a Tinder platform, which kind of gets degrading at a certain point.
Right.
'Cause you're like,
From the beginning.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
You're already like at, rock bottom. So you might as well just like at least move over to text
How were
messaging
you
or something.
dating before you came across Tinder?
I was openly going up to guys and just hitting on them.
Wow. I love how like into dating you are. I've never met someone who actually, because it's almost like more TV show stuff where like I didn't know people actually went on this many dates.
Yeah, it's like a hobby.
Yeah.
she writes about it too.
Yeah, I love. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's truly just a really fun way to meet people, and you're always getting to meet someone new, and that's really why I like it.
For me, it'd be like I'm always getting to hate someone new.
Well, that too. That does happen.
Yes, I'm sure. Well, tell us maybe a little bit about your dating life. So why do you think you haven't found that guy yet?
Well, this is where I wonder if I'm totally like an irresponsible dater because I'm not looking for that one guy. And this is sometimes I'm like, should I even be dating right now?
Yes, you should.
I'm the same way. Absolutely.
Dating is for fun. It's not just for partnership.
and then I feel bad because you'll go out with some guy who's totally looking, he's looking for a wife, he's looking to settle down, and I'm like, that is not in the
I'm
cards for
literally
me right
wasting your
now.
time.
Right, exactly.
There's no babies coming out of this.
Right. And I think if I ever were to meet someone, with launching 2 careers right now, I don't even know where you'd fit in my life, So it kind of stresses me out to even think of that possibility, which is why I love first dates, because it's just kind of like,
It's entertainment.
hit it and quit it.
You go to movie.
So then you're just enjoying yourself. You're just like, I want to meet people and have fun.
That's good, I think.
If you stick around, we can go out a few times. We'll have fun with each
Do you
other.
guys communicate that normally? That's what you're looking for? Do you know that before you get into it?
No, and if it comes up, I'm very honest about that, there's been times where, I've gone on a first date and wanted a second date, but there has literally been no time. And that gets really frustrating.
I was gone for 10 days. I have 3 guys. I'm like, I want to go out. I have no time.
Yeah.
They're cute.
What do you say to these guys?
Well, you mean, what do you mean about going out?
About not having time, because for some guys, they're like, oh, that's an excuse.
Right.
Or so how do you say it that actually means it's real?
You know what? I'm like, I might say I've got a really busy week. Every night this week is busy. How does next week look like for you?
So
if you're really
you
interested,
open. You're
like if they're
offering
like,
another
let's get
option.
together. I said, honestly, this is a crazy week of work, but next week I'm available Wednesday, Thursday.
Yeah, or I try to say lunch, I could do which I do not like sober dates at all. I think I've done it once and it was horrendous. But I don't like
sober podcasts.
That's why we're doing shots right now.
Yeah.
And so I just will even try to make some sort of showing I'm making an effort, if it gets that busy.
Right.
Like, oh, we could do lunch. And they're like, no, I can't do that. And I'm like, okay, well now you're saying no. So I don't feel as bad.
Right. Yeah. I mean, because there's different philosophies to dating. People say, oh, never just get coffee. That's kind of a cop out. You should commit to drinks or dinner or lunch.
Oh, I say the opposite.
I say get in and get
Especially
out.
for Tinder. God,
Yeah.
you don't know if you're gonna like this person.
A
You want to
meal is
commit
too long.
to a whole
The meal is too long. Like the appetizers are coming. You're like, oh my God. When the hell am I getting out
Yeah,
of here?
we're just at the calamari.
Yeah, exactly.
No, you want a
Exactly.
coffee, and then if you choose to, you can extend to a dinner, a
Especially
lunch,
with
drinks,
Tinder.
whatever. Especially, yes, with online dating or with Tinder, you have no freaking clue if you're going to like this person. If
guys-
you already know them, that's when you can invest more time.
Totally.
The guys you have gone out with on dinner dates, have they been paying?
Lately, yes, because I have just done the absolute refusal.
You don't even do the reach?
Not anymore, because I get too resentful when, they accept it. And I'm like, well, that's not really fair. It gets too confusing for guys out there. There's so much expected of them. They have to plan the date. They have to make the date. They have to, they have to pay for it, and all we have to do is show up and look nice and have a good time.
Which takes a lot of
as
time.
much time as it does for them to
that
plan.
takes a lot of
But it's
time.
as much money.
Or
but
more.
It's really fun. But it's really fun, and they have a stressful part. So I'm like, you know what? I just don't want to make it confusing. And some guys will be like, I don't know what to do anymore because I don't want to offend someone. I don't want to think you can't pay for your stuff. So I don't even do the reach. If you ask me out, you're going to pay for it, and I just say thank you.
What about if you asked him out?
Then I pay.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Then I offer to pay. And
You know what? That's what. You know what that's like is if you call someone and you call and you just go, hey, and then you leave it in their ballpark to start the conversation. It's like, but you called me. Right. And I'm like, why?
Totally.
Now I have
but
to
that's
start
the same thing with
conversation?
approaching too. A lot of guys
Right.
approach women and they're like, they spit out their first line. They're like, okay, now I'm done. It's your job to carry on the conversation.
Exactly.
So that's interesting. I like that rule.
See, I think splitting, or whatever. I always say, I just have to tweet. Actually, the other night I was talking to my friend. She's like, oh, I went with this guy, but he asked me first to split it. And I tweeted, I'm like, 3 words women never want to hear. Let's split it.
Yeah.
yeah.
Totally
3
true.
split, yeah.
Unless they're
I was
talking
like,
about your
yeah.
jeans.
Exactly. Seriously, like,
No, because
they
that
don't
is
wanna
not
split
going to
it.
get your legs to split.
No,
Absolutely
it's like not hot. It's like,
No.
okay, well, I'll pay $6.22 for the pastrami. You
Yeah.
Right.
Forget
No,
it.
but I hate saying that though.
I do
Because
too,
people
because
always ask me, I'm like,
people get-
oh, yes, guys should pay for the first few dates. Like, it's just,
They just
it's
should.
so hard
That's
for
how
me
we
to
all
say.
feel. Like women,
Yeah.
even though I'm an independent woman, I just think it's not hot for us to sit and talk about money on the first. Like,
Yeah.
just do
No, I
it.
don't
You
think
ask
so
me
either.
out.
It just needs to be taken care of.
Eventually, I'll take you to dinner. You'll take me. It's not like I'm like that. I'm not like a
Right.
gold digger, but that's just do it. Pay for it. Take her somewhere then that you can afford. Then so you're not freaked out about it.
Right.
Absolutely.
And make sure you leave. Honestly, I think a big turnoff is leaving like a bad tip. I think that's really
Yes.
important.
Yes.
I always peek. I'm always peeking at
too.
what's being
For
left.
sure.
So
That is
what's a good
huge.
tip?
20%.
At least 20%.
And don't.
Even for Chicago. Okay, really?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Always
Chicago's
20%.
not that cheap out there.
No.
I waited
Listen, I'm
tables.
Canadian and Jewish. I do. I always do 20%, but I hate it. I used to be a server, and I would bust my ass to do a good job to earn my 15%
Right.
at that point. People out in Los Angeles, like, they are the worst servers, and they still get 20%. That's what always bothers me, because I'm like, tap dance a little bit, be
Right.
nice.
Well, I think if you're with a guy for a while, then you guys can start judging the waitress. Like, she kind of sucked. I mean,
Right.
maybe
Yeah.
like
No, but on the first
18% or something. But on the first date, just don't be a dick.
I think so, too.
Just give her the 20%, even if she
I
was
agree.
cunty.
Another thing my mom says is you can always tell on the first date how he treats the waitress is how
Yes.
he's going to treat you.
Yes.
So, and also how he treats his mother is how he's going to treat you. So if he like hates his mother, they haven't talked in 5 years, like that's a problem.
Right.
But also if he's like, hey, returning his food and hey, where is she? Come here. And he doesn't say please or thank
Or
you.
patronizing.
Or patronizing or just, like, where is
Been
she?
out
or
that
talking in a way in which it makes her
demeaning.
put down. Yeah,
Yes.
like,
It's
so
such a
funny.
sign.
you know how I like my steak cooked. It's
Right.
like, no, I don't, and I don't.
I'm
give a shit
realizing
either.
why we have a man in the room usually.
Yeah.
This is like the estrogen fest right
Yeah.
now. It's so fun. But you're getting really good information for the people that are listening right now. For women and for men.
I think so too.
But for men especially, you're getting to hear the insider's point of view on of what we actually think, how
Yeah.
we feel, and how we respond to you doing certain things. So I think that this conversation was fantastic. So Chloe, thank you so much for being here and sharing sharing with us your stories from Tinder, your stories of dating, and Emily for giving us instructions on finding the clitoris and what to do with it. And that was wonderful.
We're sorry you weren't here for that part.
I know, seriously. You should have sat
sorry.
in. But you know where it is, right?
Yeah.
I'm very familiar with
Okay,
this.
good.
Yeah.
Good. I'm glad.
Yeah, well,
Geography,
you're
yeah.
welcome. I have a podcast, Sex with Emily. You can also find it at Podcast One or iTunes. I've got thousands of them up there about the clitoris and many other things
Yes,
that will
you're
help you with
also
your sex
on
and relationship.
Loveline.
And Loveline. Yes, I host Loveline on Thursday nights, and I'm on the some other nights, Loveline podcast and radio show.
You have too long a list of things.
I know. I've got
So
3
like
iPhone
usually
apps.
You pick 3, right?
You know what you need to do?
sexwithemily.com.
If a guy doesn't believe you're busy, just say, look at my Twitter page.
Exactly.
Okay?
Yes.
Like,
Exactly.
Or
I have
don't.
no time for you. Yeah, exactly. Because he won't want to do shipping.
Yeah.
And then Chloe, how do people get in touch with you and find out more about you?
Well, I've got one little thing compared to Emily. ChloeKline.com. That's my blog where you can find all my funny dating stories. And it's getting a makeover this week. So you'll
Awesome.
Oh,
that's why you're in LA. That's what happens.
I know. Right? My blog's getting Botox. So
I like it. All right. Well, thank you, ladies, for being here. And
So good to
Emily
be
is
here.
going to join us for another episode. So
So
you're going to have to
excited.
hear
Never leaving.
more about vaginas and breasts and all the goody-goody sex stuff that you need to know to pleasure a woman every time that you're with her.
I'll be in the corner crying.
Okay, and you can check out new episodes of the Ask Women podcast every Thursday. They come out, and if you subscribe to our podcast, then it will download for you automatically. But go to Podcast One, that's podcastone.com, and download new episodes of our podcast. You can also follow us on Twitter at AskWomenPodcast.com. And we didn't do any analyze this questions today, but write your questions into ask at AskWomenPodcast.com. I don't know why I just totally forgot that, but we will see you guys next week.
Bye.